Some players dominate with skill, while others with pure chaos. From Ron Artest leaping into the stands to start the malice at the palace, to Rasheed Wallace stacking up 29 ejections in a single season, these players can certainly be classified as crazy, but none of them come close to the absolute carnage that is Dennis Rodman.
Juggle it out of bounds.
Bulls haven't missed from the field in this quarter. Antonio Davis tied up by Dennis Rodman. Allen and Davis were dancing. Here they go. And I have this dance.
Worst teammate, and why was he your worst?
Worst teammate, Dennis Rodman.
Dennis was a machine.
Yo, this is a fucking engine. I looked at him like on some mystique, bro.
It's your boy Louaista, live from LouHoopsta, and today we'll be diving into the wild life of the crazy legend, starting with an experience that would undoubtedly leave anyone with scars. With a father who never got the chance to see him grow up, Dennis was left in the care of his single mother. Growing up in one of the poorest neighborhoods in Oak Cliff, Dennis and his two sisters were left to themselves. And with nothing else to do, basketball became their escape. Unfortunately, Dennis was considered to be the least talented of the three, as his sisters dominated high school hoops, while Dennis, as a scrawny 5'10" kid, was constantly benched. With no prospects after high school, Dennis would be forced to pick up a job as a janitor. But it was at this job that something insane would happen. Rodman would shoot up from 5'10" to 6'8". All of a sudden, he now had the physical disposition of a D1 prospect. Soon, he would enroll in the Cook County Junior College, where he would dominate the boards. However, in true Dennis fashion, he would get kicked out due to poor academic performance. But it was way too late. The world had already heard of this rebounding monster, and in a short while, he would get picked up by Oklahoma State Uni. From being the overlooked runt, Rodman was suddenly dominating on the court, averaging 25.7 points and 15.7 rebounds per game, as well as becoming a three-time NAIA All-American. Dennis became a diamond in the rough, with everyone keeping an eye on him. By the time the 1986 draft came around, the Pistons knew they had to snatch this 25-year-old janitor turned baller in the second round. In fact, many would argue that Dennis would have been a top 5 pick if he were a little younger. When he got to Detroit and finally had a chance to start, the hustle and energy he showed on the court would define his entire career. His daily performances gave a glimpse of the type of player he truly was: loud, aggressive, and downright crazy. Under coach Chuck Daly, Rodman quickly became an unstoppable defensive player.
Dennis was a machine. In Detroit, he was a machine, man. He could guard anybody on the floor. He had the psychological games. He'd get in your head.
What made him truly special was his ability to juggle multiple roles on the court without even breaking a sweat.
If it was a rebound, it was a post out, he would go get the rebound. If he had to contest, he would contest.
He's an unbelievable player, incredibly athletic. He was like Superman. Like he just, just a freak of nature. A guy could run all day long, never got tired.
And his knack for getting under everyone's skin on the court earned him even more respect.
Early on, Dennis Rodman, with no hand check and with hand check, had the agility to move with any point guard in the 90s. I'm talking Isaiah, I'm talking Dumars, I'm talking your favorite guard, I'm talking Mark Price.
Due to his reputation for bringing chaos into the game, he would go on to become a core piece of the infamous Bad Boys Pistons. And the Pistons of that era weren't known for just trying to win. They were known for breaking teams, which made Rodman's energy the perfect fit for the squad.
Still along with Sally, and it's Rodman operating, a great offensive rebounder. Taken down at the end line. And
just 2 years later, Rodman would help the Pistons bully their way to 2 NBA championships. At the same time, earning himself 2 NBA Defensive Player of the Year awards.
On behalf of the Master Lock Company, it gives me great pleasure to present the Master Lock NBA Defensive Player of the Year award to Dennis Rodman. Congratulations, Dennis.
But his success on the court came with a price, cause the same intensity and unpredictability that made him a nightmare for opponents would quickly become a huge problem. And due to his wild playstyle, the entire NBA community felt no need for concern when the worm started acting strange off the court.
So on the court, he's a great guy to have next to you. In the locker room, it's a little different story.
It was so bad that his own teammates just couldn't be friends with him after the games. And things would take a darker turn when the Pistons' coach announced his resignation. Coach Chuck Daly had been the one to fill the fatherly void for the young Defensive Player of the Year. Seeing him retire at the peak of his career left the worm broken and, once again, missing a father figure.
It's just a combination of a lot of things. It's just not really having anyone to confide in, not have anyone to be close to, not have anything that was there that was rock solid.
To make matters worse, Dennis would also find himself battling a bitter divorce from his first ex-wife, Annie Baker.
It's kind of hard that I don't get to hurt my dog. I don't get to see her.
Things got so messed up in his head that he didn't see any reason to play anymore. And with no one to confide in, Dennis would go as far as contemplating ending it all.
Write about it in a way, in fact, you even say you were, those thoughts were going through your mind.
Those thoughts were going through my head, yes, absolutely. I just wanted to kill that individual. Not Dennis Rodman. I just want to kill the individual because I was too much of a follower.
This might sound like a half-decent explanation to some, but I think most of us would agree that it doesn't make complete sense to end your actual life in a bid to change your personality. But hey, if you're Dennis Rodman, that wouldn't be so crazy. Luckily, Dennis was spotted by the late TNT reporter, Craig Sager, who eventually called the cops to the scene, where they found Dennis asleep in his truck with a loaded gun on his lap. After the incident, the Pistons were ready to move on, trading Rodzilla to the San Antonio Spurs. And this marked the beginning of a whole new Dennis Rodman, aka Demolition Man.
Quick release by the left-hander Avery Johnson. Rodman, and he is hammered by Spencer for the foul. Another rebound for Rodman. Dennis Rodman has 6 rebounds. Rodman with his first field goal.
The fans here, a special day at the Alamo Dome, said you can hate me or you can love me, but I'm going to come to play. That's the bottom line.
Yeah, he says he's no. Rebound Rodman. Dennis Rodman just corralled his 19th rebound. And it goes to the Spurs. 19 rebounds for Dennis Rodman over Alexander. Way off, air ball. But Rodman keeps it alive. Daniels.
He wasn't just dominating on the court. This was a Dennis who felt like he finally was in control and could truly do whatever he wanted. Rodman showed up to the games late with dyed hair, multiple piercings, and a brand new chaotic identity. If you ask Dennis what sparked this sudden change in his whole persona, he would probably tell you that the old Dennis was dead forever. Rodman clashed with coaches, fought with opposing teams, and even his own teammates, getting himself suspended repeatedly. He was constantly making headlines for his wild lifestyle, especially during his famous romance with the 90s superstar, Madonna. The duo would be spotted together at multiple events, with Madonna allegedly flying Rodman out on her private jet just to lay pipe.
She sent a plane for me, G5. I went to the airport, came here, flew here, went over that thing over to her house, did my thing, went back on the plane, got back, they held the table, started playing dice again.
Rodman would later reveal that Madonna was so determined to have his baby that she offered him $20 million, which he eventually turned down. Between partying with Madonna and skipping practice sessions, Rodman's priorities seemed to be anywhere but basketball. However, to everyone's shock, Dennis would average an outstanding 17.3 rebounds per game, earning him the All-Defensive Second Team and All-NBA Third Team in 1994. By the next season, the Demolition Man would show up with an even more impressive performance, putting himself in the All-Defensive First Team in 1995 with 16.8 rebounds per game. But despite his good showing on the court, the Spurs started to feel like they couldn't control him anymore. And things would get really ugly during the playoffs, when Rodman kept getting suspended at the worst possible moments, leaving fans frustrated, including those who once supported him. Dennis Rodman was a poor excuse for a player. He thinks he's privileged, but he's really just a clown. Even his coaches were not sure Rodman could still fit in with the team, as the Worm started demanding to be traded after feeling disrespected for who he was. He didn't like me at all. I wasn't the church-going guy, and David Robinson called me the devil. I said, okay man, one thing was clear. If San Antonio wanted a chance at a championship, Dennis Rodman wasn't the one who was going to take him there. And just like his fans predicted, the Spurs cut their losses and traded him to the Chicago Bulls, where he would become teammates with the legendary Michael Jordan. At this point, Dennis was already 34 years old, and he wasn't exactly the prime prospect for any team in the NBA, but he had enough skills to be the rock MJ and Pippen could depend on. as they were looking to make deep runs in the playoffs. Although not everyone saw it that way, as some argued that he was just a bust waiting to happen. Dennis would finally arrive in Chicago, looking like he was ready to revive his public image and prove everyone wrong. But unfortunately, he would once again show that he just didn't care, as he would get handed a 6-game suspension for headbutting a ref.
It looked like he headbutted him. If he did.
And later on, he would kick a courtside cameraman in the groin, earning him another 11-game suspension.
Missed it. Dennis fights for the rebound, tapped it out, and it'll belong to Minnesota. He kicked the cameraman.
Having the Worm on the team was a huge gamble for the Bulls, yet somehow, they found a way to make it work, even bringing along his friend Jack Haley to keep him grounded. When the GOAT was asked about having Dennis as a teammate, he surprisingly praised Dennis's chemistry with the team.
Surprised with his basketball knowledge, his fundamentals, and his understanding of the system. He's picked it up quick, maybe because he's played against it for so many years.
Despite everyone else treating him like a ticking time bomb, the Worm still nailed it for the team, hauling in nearly 15 boards per game, snatching another rebound title, and helping the Bulls storm to 72 wins, which was an NBA record at the time.
Upper for 3. And Rodman, nice tip. And 6 rebounds for Rodman. Bulls lead by 3. We're just under 5 minutes to go, first half. Hawkins with the 95, 96 NBA championship. Make it 4 in 6 years as they defeat the Sonics.
And when they got into the playoffs, Rodman was a prime lockdown for the Bulls, helping them edge out the Seattle Supersonics for a Game 6 win in the NBA Finals. To everyone's surprise, they would bag another championship against the Jazz the very next season. The Dennis gamble had paid off massively, and all they needed to do was get one more in an intense 98 NBA Finals.
Tips it to Pippen. Can he beat Kukoc? Down to Michael with Russell on it.
But right in the middle of this crucial time, Denon the Loose Cannon would do something heart-dropping.
I need a vacation. And I look at Phil and say, Phil, what do you mean, vacation? He says, he needs a vacation. He needs some time off to let loose. I said, look, Phil, let me tell you something, man. If anybody needs a vacation, I need a vacation. We look at Dennis and said, Dennis, what are you going to do? He says, well, I need to go to Vegas.
For any other player, this is a downright traded the next morning offense. But for Dennis Rodman, he needed the party life as much as he needed breathing. And his coach, Phil Jackson, unsure of what to do, would cave to his request, despite MJ begging him not to let Dennis go.
Phil, you let this dude go to vacation, we're not going to see him. You let him go to Vegas, we definitely not going to see him. So he looks at Dennis and says, Dennis, well, can your vacation be like 48 hours? And Dennis is like, I got no other choice. I take whatever you can give me. I'll take the 48 hours.
But just like MJ predicted, Rodzilla never came back.
He didn't come back on time. We had to go get his ass out of bed. And I'm not going to say what's in his bed and where he was and blah, blah, blah.
There's a knock on the door. It's Michael Jordan. And I hid. I didn't want him to see me like that. So I'm just like hiding behind the couch with covers over me. Come on, we gotta get to practice.
Interesting. To make things even more crazy, Vegas wasn't the only place that saw Rodzilla, because during the WCW TV Live, this happened.
Great title, and with Rodzilla in the house, there will be no stopping.
Hanging out with Hulk Hogan instead of being in practice for a game that would decide if the team would win or lose the NBA championship is the type of behavior you'd expect from someone like Dennis Rodman. Shockingly, despite his appearance on the WCW, Dennis returned stronger than ever, snatching 14 rebounds and locking down Utah's infamous Karl Malone.
Karl Malone using his superior strength, and Dennis Rodman does a good job forcing him to take a tough.
For context, the mailman was Utah's key piece during the previous year's NBA Finals, and he successfully led the Jazz to yet another NBA Final, proving just how dominant he was on the court.
Head to Malone, to the hoop, and Utah claims.
So if the Bulls had a chance of winning the championship, Karl Malone was the man to handle, and Dennis was in charge of guarding him, helping the Bulls bag the final piece of their three-peat.
Harper got a piece of it. It comes off. The Chicago Bulls.
Which was shocking to everyone but Dennis, cause how do you explain partying all night and still showing up to dominate everyone?
Well, they've been very good to me, this organization, to let me have my space and my individuality and my room, because I've been doing this for years and years, coming to games late, because the less I can be there, the more productive I can be, basically. I don't want to sit back there in the locker room for 2 hours or hour and a half just waiting. You know, I'm too impatient for that. I have to at least get there, and I can work out, and then go to the game. And I think they respected me for doing that. But sometimes they have to get on me sometimes, because I do take a little bit of.
However, Rodman's reckless style of operating wasn't limited to the court alone, because outside of the NBA, he proved that he just doesn't give a damn. Especially the time Dennis decided to write an autobiography titled Bad As I Wanna Be, where he dedicated a whole chapter to his escapades with Madonna. And the crazy part wasn't even the fact that he didn't mind showing off his crack on the book cover. What's truly insane was Rodman's idea for the perfect book promotion. Yeah, bro straight up married himself. Talking about some Married to New York.
I felt like it was very appropriate to get married to the city of New York. To the city of New York.
Yeah, but you've got everything except a bride.
I'm all of both worlds.
His crazy publicity stunt worked, as his book would become a New York Times bestseller and top the charts for weeks. From this point, Dennis was elevated to a whole new level of fame, making himself millions of dollars in the process. His antics and persona were so new and weird for that time that brands were flocking to him for endorsements. Rodman was simply so polarizing that people just couldn't look away. And as he grew older and older, he grew more and more comfortable being his raw, authentic self, even if everyone around him thought he was a menace. One example was Shaq, who despised the fact that Dennis could get away with anything during his time on the Lakers.
Who was your worst teammate, and why was he your worst?
Worst teammate? Dennis Rodman. He was a great player, but he made it hard. Like when you're trying to corral the guys together, and then the people above you letting this one guy do whatever he wants. And rightfully so. So we have to be there an hour before the game. He come in 50 minutes before the game, eating chicken and rice. Big ass plate of chicken and rice.
And what was even worse was Rodman's post-game habits, which I think you will find particularly disgusting.
After the game, don't take a shower and be in the club with girls that look like you.
Oh, nah, you can't take a shower pill, dog.
No, he didn't. Yeah, he just put his clothes on and go. I went to one of his parties one time. I was like, what? I thought I was the king of the club, but I went to one of his parties. I ain't never seen nothing like that before.
So this man was out smelling like 4 quarters?
Yes.
It was obvious that Dennis was high on the publicity, because even after leaving the NBA, he would continue stunting for attention, sharing bizarre stories that kids aren't allowed to listen to.
Hey, this is Dennis Rodman. Let me show you how to break your dick 3 ways.
One of the wild examples came from a Vlad TV interview where Rodman casually described breaking his penis, not once, but 3 different times, laughing it off like it was a minor injury. The clip instantly went viral, proving once again that even decades after his playing days, Rodman could still shock the people without even trying.
Video, I think it was with Vice, where you talked about that you broke your penis 3 times in 3 different incidents, right?
Yep. Yeah, I think that's something kind of legendary about me going, like, huh? Those are the good old days, like, God, Lord, when you miss, it's kind of wow. Next thing you know, you end up, going to a blood bank. What?
Oh, and remember that girl MJ caught in Rodman's bed? Well, she ended up marrying the worm in hopes of making a proper husband out of him, only to get shocked as Rodman would call it quits in no time.
Just days after getting married to actress Carmen Electra, Rodman is filing for an annulment.
Rodman was so inebriated he didn't know which end was up.
And you've had your share of love. How long were you with Carmen Electra?
I don't know, 10, 15 days.
Wait a minute, what?
And just when you think their relationship wasn't chaotic enough, it gets even crazier, cause they get married again, and this time get divorced after 6 months. The Worm would repeat this pattern of lack of commitment in his much more recent relationship with Michelle Moyer, who would eventually give the former NBA star 2 children. But unfortunately, their relationship would be crowned by divorce filings and bitter court battles before finally ending in 2012, leaving behind over $860,000 in unpaid child support, which threatened to put the Worm behind bars. However, Dennis Dennis was no stranger to going to jail.
So when I say how many times you been in jail, raw ballpark number.
My lifetime?
Yeah, how many times?
I said over 100.
Over 100 goddamn times.
Yeah.
In jail.
I was having too many parties at my house. And for 7 years straight, it was like 7 days a week.
God, Dennis?
This might not be far from the truth, considering Dennis had a bad relationship with the bottle.
No, he's just been going through a lot of emotional issues the past couple of months. He's battled, his alcohol issues over the years. I'd say probably going back a good 15, 16 years now it's been going on.
Being a naturally outlandish person and an alcoholic is like a time bomb waiting to go off. And this resulted in Dennis being in weird situations you wouldn't expect any NBA star to be in. From getting caught shoplifting.
Take a look at this. It shows a man believed to be the NBA Hall of Famer walking into Vibes Hot Yoga Tuesday afternoon with 2 women and a man. The security video shows Rodman apparently distracting employees while one of the women hid behind him to stuff clothing into her purse. Then you see the man with Rodman.
To hanging out with one of the world's most dangerous men.
We laugh, we sing karaoke, we do a lot of cool things together. And we ride horses, we hang out, we go skiing.
He would even go on to celebrate his birthday with him.
Happy birthday to you.
At this moment, his fans were convinced that Rodman was living a reality show. Rodman was no longer just an NBA star, as he was somehow playing diplomat between the US and North Korea.
What Kid and Bay did.
Yeah.
Do you understand what he did?
What did he do? You tell me.
Country.
But being friends with the dictator wasn't so bad, considering the fact that he facilitated the release of an American prisoner with one tweet. Despite this, many still think he might just be North Korea's propaganda tool. But if you ask fans of the Worm, he's the only reason America is in a crater right now.
Champion, Hall of Famer, and possibly all that is standing between us and thermonuclear war with North Korea. Please welcome Dennis Rodman.
It's your boy Louaista, aka LouHoopsta, and if you want to hear more crazy NBA stories, you can click one of the 2 videos on the screen. Till then, I'll catch you on the next one. Peace.